Why if Lincoln grew a beard? Loads of letters. Before texting, there was email. Before email, there were telephones. Before telephones, people wrote letters. They still do, of course. But in the 18th, letters were the main way people reached out to each other when they weren't in the same place. Sometimes, people fell in love through letters. Sometimes good news, say, of a new grandchildren might reach people through a letter. Sometimes bad news of a son killed in war might reach people the same way. Letters are still a great way to reach out to someone you might never meet in person. You, as president, receive thousands of letters a day, and 10 times that many emails. Some of those letters are funny, some are angry, some are sad. All of them help keep the president in touch with what's happening around the country. Sometimes children write the president. They might share a story, offer an opinion, or make a suggestion. What follows is the story of one such child, one such suggestion, and one of our most famous presidents of all. What about whiskers? When you look at most pictures of Abraham Lincoln, including the one of the $5 bill, he has a beard. He didn't always, though. In fact, before Abe ran for president, he was clean-shaven. No one knows for sure whether he ever even thought of growing a beard until an 11-year-old girl living in Western New York decided he should. The girl's name was Grace Bedell. When her father showed Grace a picture of Lincoln, she was struck by the sadness in Lincoln's eyes, the wrinkles along his mouth, and his long, thin face. She thought Lincoln would look much better if he grew a beard. Back then, beards were often called whiskers. On October 15, 1860, they wrote him a letter to tell him so. Grace asked if Lincoln had any daughters her age. He told him about her family, including her 4 brothers. Part of them will vote for you anyway, she wrote. And if you let your whiskers grow, I will try and get the rest of them to vote for you. She went on to say, all the ladies like whiskers, and they should tease their husband to vote for you, and then you will be president. My father is going to vote for you, and if I was a man, I would vote for you. Lincoln's reply. The son to be president wasted little time answering Grace's letter. Within days, she received the letter back. My dear little miss, Lincoln wrote, I regret the necessity of saying I have no daughters. I have 3 sons on 17, 19, and 1 7 years of age. Lincoln went on to ask whether people might find it silly if he started wearing whiskers. He had never worn them before and wondered if at age 51, he was too old to start. Yet, Grace's letter must have caused him to start thinking about her suggestion. It wasn't long afterwards that he began to grow some. Soon, he was voted in as 16th President of the United States. He boarded a train to Springfield, Illinois, and headed to Washington, D.C. by that time. He had a full-grown beard. Grace and Abe meet. Lincoln's train rode through several states on its way to the nation's capital. It made many stops along the way, including a stop was Westfield, New York, the town where Grace lived. In those days, There was no television, so people were eager to get a peek at their newly elected president. A large crowd had gathered to see and hear him. In that crowd stood Grace Bedell and her father. Knowing he was in Grace's hometown, Lincoln decided to talk about his beard. When he finished, he said that if the young lady who wrote the letter was in the crowd, he would like to meet her. Mr. Bedell, with Grace in hand, struggled through the tight crowd to where Lincoln stood. Lincoln climbed down the spoke with Grace. She remembered him saying, "Gracie, look at my whiskers. I have been growing them for you." He gave her a kiss on the cheek. Then, to the sound of cheers, he got back on the train. The statue in New York State, Lincoln was the first president to grow a full beard. None of the 15 presidents who came before him even had a mystical for the next 50 years. All but 2 presidents wore facial hair. Fashions come and go, though the United States hasn't had a president with the facial hair since William Howard Taft, 1909-1913. He wore a mustache. As for Grace, she never again saw the president. All these years later, though, you can see Grace if you ever visit the town of the Westfield, New York. Be sure to go to Lincoln Bedell Statue Park. There you will see a statue of President Lincoln greeting Grace Bedell.